More heart attacks occur in people with moderate to low cholesterol levels. So if you have slightly elevated cholesterol, like I have, when I went to my GP, he said you've got slightly elevated cholesterol levels. It's not a true marker of any issue at all. In fact, it could be healthy or sign of good health, because you need to compare that with your triglycerides. So if anyone goes to a GP and the GP says you have high LDL, which is a problem, or total cholesterol levels, you should always tell them or ask them, what are my triglyceride levels? Because if they're low or within a healthy range, there's no issue at all.
Hey, meat eaters, and an even bigger welcome to any plant eaters that haven't unsubscribed from all these carnivore experts as of lately. But seriously, even you will be impacted by Coach Matt's transformational journey on the carnivore diet. By the way, Matt, thoroughly enjoyed our conversation earlier this week, and still getting over my pneumonia. So if I'm coughing at all, then that's why. But appreciate you being cool with that. Anyway, if you are watching on YouTube, thank you and God bless you for subscribing, sharing, and supporting. We've been going hard on lots of audio-only episodes too. So if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or any of like those major audio platforms, you can catch the rest of the action there. Today, we are pleased to be joined by Coach Matt Kershaw, all the way down under from Western Australia, to share with you his health condition before switching to the carnivore diet, his health condition now, which sneak preview, it's better. Spoiler alert. Cognitive optimization with a meat-based diet, and optimizing your own natural health and wellness. Matt Kershaw is a certified Revero health coach specializing in ancestral nutrition. He is a 3, 4, 5 year carnivore veteran. Not really sure. I'm going to let him take it from there once we get started. Functional lifting and outdoor sports enthusiast. Mark helps his clients in his community to live, train, and perform their best on a healthy, sustainable, meat-based diet. You can follow Matt on Instagram, where you'll find a link to his free 20-minute coaching consultations. So if I were you, I would definitely take advantage of that. I'm considering getting this own free consultation from him because we're definitely going to be going over 20 minutes on this conversation. So we'll sort that out off the air, right? His Instagram is at prima.ancestral, which is prima.ancestral, just like it sounds. I could have put a link to that in the description. You can also listen to his success story on Sean Baker's podcast. He's got some discount codes for some meat-based snacks and supplements too. What are you promoting that our subscribers can benefit from, mate?
I have Carnivore Crackle, delicious. There's some protein and collagen bars, so they're 100% free-range beef with salt, so no nasty ingredients in there.
Cool.
And for those that like supplements, freeze-dried liver supplements.
Right on. I
tend to go all in with real organs, but some people don't like the taste, so I've got that on there as well.
Yeah, good stuff. And they can find that all through your link tree on your Instagram. Would that be like the quickest way to get there, probably?
Exactly, it's all on there.
Cool, good stuff. All right, well, welcome to the show.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
Thank you.
So I guess we can start with my health journey.
Yeah, let's start there. How did it all begin? Why did you go carnivore in the first place?
I had a range of health issues. I think a lot of people do. I guess we live in a society and most people have some sort of low-grade inflammation.
Yep.
So with me, it was severe eczema was the main trigger for me to start changing my diet. And with the research I was doing at the time, I knew it was something that was internal. It wasn't something that you just get on your skin. It's something in your body's inflamed that causes something like that. And for me, it was quite severe. It used to cover half my body. And I used to go to the GP and get medication for it. And they used to just say, just apply this cream, it'll go away. But yeah, with these little things, when you have health issues, you think there has to be something else going on, because it's not a normal condition. We've normalized these things. It's not a normal condition. So this was a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and it just got me thinking that all of these health issues could be diet related or lifestyle related. So eczema was a big one, bad dandruff, dry skin, a lot of bad bloating and gas. And I knew that was something to do with food as well. I had that for years. Brain fog, bags under my eyes, and just general tiredness. I'd wake up in the morning and feel tired, and
Wow.
I'd be sluggish the whole day.
Yeah. And how old are you again?
I'm almost 46 now.
Okay. So kind of like too young to be seeing a lot of those signs at that point is what.
Yeah, I had those for years. Just thinking way back in my early 20s, I had these issues, and it went on for years. I just thought it's just a normal part of life. Got to live with it. But when I hit 40, I was listening to so many podcasts at that time on nutrition and health and wellness. I was soaking up all this alternative information on health and wellness. And I thought, I'm going to take health matters into my own hands.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my diet. I went not full carnivore then, but I sort of eased into it. This was about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And the paleo diet was all the rage.
Yeah, I think I was paleo like around the same time too, actually, because that's how a lot of us get into the carnivore diet. It goes paleo and then keto and then carnivore, right?
Yeah, like that, or keto and then carnivore. But it's a great starting point for someone on just the standard American or Australian diet. It's a starting point.
Yeah, it's a good step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, so I cut out grains and sugar right at the same time. Just made a decision, just go cold turkey, cut those out. And sugar was a hard thing because I had a severe sugar addiction. I had that since I was a kid.
We all do. Thank you, Governor.
Yeah. And my parents are great. They didn't know as well. So that was just the standard diet. I can't blame anyone. We just get addicted to these things. I also really lowered my alcohol intake. So that was a big thing too, because sugar. Alcohol converts into sugar in your body.
That was a hard thing for me to give up too. Did you find it hard? Yeah. Were you like just kind of like a drink every day kind of guy like I was?
I was running a business at the time. I was very highly stressed. I was drinking a lot. That was just my outlet.
Yeah.
It wasn't a healthy outlet. I knew that, and because I was living overseas at the time, I moved back to Australia, and that's when I started to make all the changes. I thought, I'm gonna clean everything up, clean my diet up. I'm going to cut out alcohol. Still have a drink occasionally socially, but not very much.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I really feel the effects now, so it's not worth my time. But when I started to work out at the gym, this was about 5 or 6 years ago. I hadn't worked out for 20 years. So I hadn't stepped into a gym. I hadn't done any exercise. I had no muscle definition. And I just thought I have to get stronger now. I'm 40 years old. I want to be fit. I want to have some muscle. Never had any muscle definition, like I said. And when I was drinking at that time, I thought it's not worth it. If I'm in the gym and I feel I'm not performing and I'm tired and still waking up tired, it's not worth it. So I cut that out as well.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I'm still eating vegetables and nuts. So over a period of time, I slowly eliminated a few other food items. And in the end, I just arrived at something that really works 100% for me, which is around 90-95% meat-based diet. I have a little bit of fruit, a little bit of honey, not very much. Don't really need it.
Wow. Okay, so you're like 95% meat and salt then. Sorry, just making sure I'm understanding correctly. And then
I guess, at least about 90%. Sometimes I add vegetables to the meat, but that's fruit, like zucchini, squash, something that's quite light. I have no issues with that. But I find if I add a cauliflower or leafy vegetables, that causes issues for my digestion. So I've cut all those out. I cut those out about 2 years ago completely.
Yeah.
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 Occasionally
I'm the same way. I just want to throw it in too. I'm the same way. Like I do particularly well on sweet potatoes, squash, parsnips, even like any kind of a paleo friendly root vegetable. Those have always agreed particularly well with me too. But vegetables, no. It's like my skin starts breaking out. A lot of the same stuff you described.
Yeah, I find root vegetables are fine. I have them occasionally, like once a week. Parsnip or sweet potato are great. It's just like a nice addition, a nice little filler.
Totally.
Yeah. So
even on a ketogenic diet too, I was kind of surprised with how many I was able to get away with after my last couple of shows, just putting them like at the end of a meal and then using that muscle glycogen for my workout the next day. But yeah, it's just carbs always come with inflammation no matter how you go about doing it, and it just wasn't worth it. So I'm back on 100% meat and salt or excuse me, like
yeah, sure,
95% meat and salt, just like you are right now too. So cool.
Yeah, I find the addition of like a piece of fruit every few days, or like milk has, I drink raw milk as well, have some dairy, so that has a bit of carbs in it. No, I have no issues there at all. There's something I've reintroduced over time is dairy. Like a good cheese or raw milk is great.
Yeah. So when you say raw milk, is that like, does that mean unpasteurized, or what do you mean exactly by raw milk?
Unpasteurized. In Australia, it's illegal. So the way some local farmers have branded it, in my area, it actually gets sold out really quickly. It's called bath milk, and they have to label on it not for human consumption, but we know what it's about.
Wow. So so just to make sure I understand correctly, there's a black market for raw milk is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. But the farmers have to say not for human consumption. And we know like it is raw milk and we can drink it. No one has any issues, but it's a way around the regulations.
Yeah. As a coach, do you ever, I mean, you eat raw meats too, right? From time to time, like
yeah, a little. Yeah. I think, because I'm really based on an ancestral approach and based on a lot of ancient cultures, they all had at least one raw meat dish.
Yeah.
It's for the beneficial bacteria that it has, the enzymes of bacteria, same as raw milk. So I have a little bit of raw meat or raw organ sometimes. It's not a big thing.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm with you on especially on raw liver. I just think that liver it just tastes 10 times better raw than it does.
It does, yeah.
When you cook
it doesn't have that strong flavor if it's raw compared to when it's cooked.
Right.
It's interesting.
It's got to be fresh though.
It has to be fresh. Yeah. As soon as you buy it, like I will have some straight away. I'll keep a little bit in the fridge for a day or two, but can't really keep it for more than a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest I'll freeze if I buy a lot.
Are you ever worried about do you ever recommend that anybody eats any raw meats? Because I know that as a coach, that's kind of something you want to be careful about how you say that kind of stuff, you know. I'm just curious.
Sure. I just tell people, as long as you buy it from a good source, don't just buy it from a standard supermarket. If you can source it from a local butcher and buy it fresh, so go in first thing in the morning when they've just cut up all the meat and buy it then, and try to eat it the same day. As long as it's fresh, really you shouldn't have a problem. So there's just giving people some standard advice about consuming that. And I haven't known or met anyone that's had an issue with raw meat. And I know quite a few raw meat eaters, like personally and on Insta that I follow, and none of them have had issues with that.
Yeah, I've never had any issues, and even steak, it feels like it's weird. Like I feel like I ate a steak, but I don't feel it in my stomach. It's like it digests way easier.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's cooked, if it's overcooked.
Well, there's some research behind raw meat as well that it's a little bit higher in nutrients.
Wow.
Than cooked meat. But with cooked meat, it releases more protein. It's going to make the protein a little bit more active.
Yeah, and you're going to cook the fats out too. And man, that is the hardest part about the carnivore diet, I think, is if you're tracking macros on it, it's tough to be accurate. It really is. It's like, do you really know how much fat is marbleized in that in that meat? Like,
yeah, and it's hard with apps. I was tracking macros for a while. I had an app, but I'm not sure how accurate it is with fat.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's just you got to make observational estimates or guesses with fat and protein.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
So, what did your doctor specifically commend your health for? He said that your health markers had significantly improved. What specifically did you see improvements in your blood work or did you pretty much cover it with your skin conditions and everything?
Yeah, the thing is, I never saw a GP all those years ago. I knew I had some health issues. I did see a GP for my eczema, and they just prescribe medication for that, some creams and ointments. But I never had everything checked all those years ago, which, looking back in hindsight, I should have, because then I could very easily compare what was happening then to now. I did see a GP about a year ago, just wanted to get all my markers checked, but he wouldn't check everything. And I really had to push to get him to check something. I asked for at least check my iron and my testosterone, and he was really pushing for cholesterol as well, because I did say that I eat a lot of meat. So that was something that popped into his head. He was really looking for the negatives, but it's really hard for me to get checked because you need a legit reason to get your bloods checked here.
Oh, interesting.
Unless I go in and make something up.
Yeah, because I get mine checked out. I get mine checked all the time, just like as a coach and everything. I want to make sure that it's obviously working for me, like it's supposed to be working for everybody else. So
exactly. I mean, we live what we preach, so we have to show that we're in top health.
Mm-hmm.
My GP, he basically said you're in peak physical and health condition, and I can't check anything. But he did say I can take the angle. He was trying to help me out. He said I can take the angle where you're over 40 and you're eating a lot of meat and may cause high cholesterol, high total cholesterol, and therefore I may have to prescribe statins at some point if your cholesterol's too high.
And that was basically like his only concern, because he's concerned about the amount of fats that you're consuming, probably from animal products.
Yes. And also, I did say I like to optimize my vitamin D. I like to get a lot of sun. He's like, okay, we should check for skin cancer.
Yeah.
So that was his angle. Just thinking like a GP.
Mm-hmm. So your cholesterol levels have probably elevated from where they were, but you're a Revero certified coach trained by Dr. Baker, right? So I know that he's big into I know we just talked about the raw meats too, but just one more thing I wanted to add on that, I guess, while we're at it, is that he was saying that it's, especially when it comes to something like ground beef, you wouldn't want to consume that raw, because a lot of the infections that could possibly get on raw or under consumed meat, that's where they would be.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be inside the meat.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry, on cholesterol levels, that more cholesterol wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, because even though it's usually associated with heart disease, it doesn't mean that your cholesterol is causing the heart disease. People that have heart disease, it could be genetic, obviously, but it could be from a number of typically it's from a number of unhealthy lifestyle habits, and overconsuming
that's it.
in general just happens to be one of those problems that causes it.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of, you have to go back to the 1950s with a lot of listeners, I'm sure they've heard of Ancel Keys, a lot of studies that were done during the 50s and onwards, trying to link high cholesterol with heart disease, based on a lot of like fraudulent and biased studies. When you really look at how they were conducted, you can't say that's science. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people still believe that. And I think it goes back to the very early 1980s as well. So when the governments were putting together their food, the food pyramid, it was based on a lot of those studies going back to the 1950s and 60s, linking saturated fat and red meat intake with heart disease. So Yeah, that's unfortunate. A lot of people still believe that. Yeah, with elevated cholesterol, it elevates as we get older. That's a part of aging. It can also elevate when we're fasting. And like I think you pointed out that it's not a bad thing. I'd say it is bad if it's oxidized LDL cholesterol, so that could potentially cause a problem. So that is linked to chronic inflammation in the body. So we've got vegetable oils that can cause chronic inflammation. Unfortunately, they're labeled as heart healthy. Processed sugar, alcohol,
and
artificial,
they put it on the front of the labels like it's a good thing. It's like, this is made with canola oil, and I'm like, okay, next aisle.
I always have to doubt that if something says heart healthy, it's usually the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, like,
we live in a topsy-turvy world.
Honey nut Cheerios. It's supposed to lower your cholesterol and make you healthy. I'm like,
yeah. Now with
out of a jar. That's the worst thing you could put in your body.
Turn that box over and just check the ingredients. If there's anything there, I tell people if there's anything there you can't pronounce and don't recognize, it's not a food and shouldn't be in your body.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
Stick to real foods and stick to foods that our grandparents would have recognized. If you could put them in a time machine and bring them here, if they didn't recognize the food, don't eat it. It's really simple. That's me speaking to just the average person that doesn't know that much about nutrition. Just stick to real food. It's simple.
That's a really good way to explain it. Yeah, whole foods.
Whole foods. Yeah, going back to cholesterol, it's such an interesting thing because it's a hormone. It's responsible for our sex hormones. It produces sex hormones. Builds and maintains cell membranes. It produces bile. It synthesizes vitamin D from the sun. There's so many benefits to cholesterol. So our body will produce 80%. So that's generated by our liver. And the other 20% is sourced from eating animal-based foods. So we need to eat animal-based foods to produce that other 20%. So with that 80%, some people have reduced levels because of stress and inflammation in the body. So if we're healthy, our body will produce, all that 80%. But if we're not, it could be far lower. And if we're not eating animal-based food, so if we have a plant-based diet, we're not getting that other 20%. So then that can cause quite a lot of problems because we have low cholesterol. I don't know if you know the studies about low cholesterol.
I don't. Can you please share about that? I like where this is going. This is an area that I need to be more educated.
Yeah, sure. Elevated total cholesterol. It's not linked to heart disease. So this is with the studies that have come out over the last 10 or 15 years. But with lower all-cause cardiovascular mortality. So in fact, most heart attacks occur in people with normal to low cholesterol levels, which is
really,
more heart attacks occur in people with moderate to low cholesterol levels.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really, really interesting.
That's really interesting. So if you have slightly elevated cholesterol, like I have, when I went to my GP, he said you've got slightly elevated cholesterol levels. It's not a true marker of any issue at all. In fact, it could be healthy or sign of good health because you need to compare that with your triglycerides. So if anyone goes to a GP and the GP says you have high LDL, which is a problem, or total cholesterol levels, you should always tell them or ask them, what are my triglyceride levels? Because if they're low or within a healthy range, there's no issue at all.
Wow.
And that's what happened with me and my GP. I said, what about my triglycerides? Because you didn't mention that. And he said, they're low. And I said, well, there's no problem, is there, doctor? It's all within a healthy range. And he said, well done, detective. That's what he said.
Nice.
Like, I was just thinking, come on, man. You didn't tell me that to begin with. He was really pushing the statins.
Yeah.
He said, well done, detective. It's like, is there anything else? He said, no. And that was it. I was like, That's incredible,
Well
right?
done, man. Bro, I want to
Yeah.
give you a hug. You have no idea, man. I have had it with my clients' doctors, dude. Like this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I went to bed just. This is after. So you and I talked 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. So it was anyway. It was last night. It was the last email that I sent, and it was like at the end of a 12-hour day, and so I was like pretty much just kind of spent anyway. But yeah, no. I just sent her an email, and I said, look. I completely disagree with everything that your doctor's telling you to do. Reintroducing plants and like everything that she's been on the carnivore diet for a long time, and I'm like, and she's her health markers have been great. Now her doctor's telling
Right.
and telling her that.
And how does she feel? I mean, if people just need to pay attention to how they feel, like just thinking about their energy level.
She's just scared and doesn't know what to believe. She's like, do I believe my bodybuilding coach or do I believe what my doctor's saying? And I'm like, I'm telling you flat out, your doctor's wrong. If I get put out of business, it's going to be because a doctor hired a hitman or something.
Well done. It's so hard for people.
You got to be able to sleep at night at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People getting conflicting information, and they see the GP as the ultimate expert in all sorts of health related knowledge, right?
Yeah.
But how much training have they had in nutrition?
Right.
I think it's what I've looked at, 1 hour in five or six.
Sorry, just one more thing. And it's just where is the incentive coming from? Because at the end of the day, you're either fixing your health on the front end or the back end, right? And there's some people that are in the business of fixing people's health on the back end. Now, do they really do they really care about your health on the front end to the point to where it takes you to get there? Well, if you fix your own health on the front end, then they're out of business. So I'm not, and that I guess that comes to a point where you just have to make a real ethical call and go, is this what's important here? Because I think you just identified to your own doctor a flaw in something that he knew. I don't know, based on the way that you it sound like he responded. So
yeah, that's right. They know next to nothing about nutrition. I think that's the way it is. So if you go in there and like a lot of our health issues are, I'd say most of them are linked to what we eat. It's nutrition and lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
So if you can fix that, it's the core root cause healing. If you can fix that, it can change your life.
Yeah. Stop putting band-aids on it. It's just like
there's a band-aid solution. Medication is a band-aid solution. In fact, it can cause further issues because a lot of people have reactions to medications, and then they need medications on top of those, and it's just a downward spiral. They're not fixing the problem.
Yeah. When I cut out alcohol and melatonin, man, that was a good lifestyle change, because it would put me to sleep and I would feel good. But man, I've now I'm hearing studies about how melatonin can suppress your testosterone levels and stuff, and I'm like, oh heck no. And so I'm feeling, sometimes less is more.
Sure, I'm all for getting out in the sun, and that's a great hormone balancer. Getting that morning sunlight, I don't wear sunglasses, so getting that light in your eyes as well.
Oh, really?
It's super important. Yeah, it's really good for eye health. If you're wearing sunglasses, your body thinks that it's still nighttime. You're blocking out that blue light when you need it from the sun. So your body thinks it's nighttime. It will signal to your skin that it's nighttime and it doesn't need to get ready for the sunlight on your skin. So I think it's important not to wear sunglasses. Get that morning sunlight so you get that nice light on your skin, so it really wakes you up in the morning. And then during the day, if you can get out and get that full spectrum, so you're getting that blue light, is good. So I'm inside a lot. I do a lot of work inside, as we all do, but I try to get out for at least half an hour or 45 minutes a day. Weekends a lot more. I'm out a lot. And definitely at nighttime, or with the sun as well, you got that spectrum. So you got that red light during the sunset. So I'm all for sun gazing, just looking at the sun for the last 20 minutes before it hits the horizon. So I'm in Western Australia. We've got beautiful sunsets.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really important as well for your eyes to get that balance of blue light and red light. And then at night, I don't have the lights on. I've got blue light blocking glasses. So if I'm in front of a screen, I'll wear those. But I've got lamps, I've got candles. I don't put the lights on at all.
Yeah. Now you're speaking my language. These biohacks about like optimizing your sleep and stuff. Absolutely. So are you familiar with Sean Stevenson? Do you know the name?
No. Yeah, tell me about Sean Stevenson.
Yeah,
You've got a book there?
Yeah, he's got this book here called and we were just talking about, just for those listening, we were talking before we started recording, like, oh man, no, we could totally just spend 4 hours nerding out about our favorite books together. But this one's called Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson, and it's loaded with biohacks on like blue light blocking glasses. I mean, all the stuff that you're describing. And so yeah, for me it's very similar. I have blue light blocking glasses, but I've gone so far as to not look at screen time at all, just because being a full-time coach, like, I'm just, the last thing I want to do is look at one more gosh darn screen right before I go.
Yes.
So yeah, the last hour for me is basically just eating one meal a day and reading the Bible for an hour straight, and that's how we shut off and unwind.
I've made the same changes. I will have a couple of candles by the bed and read for an hour before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about journaling? Is that something that you do just like for any mental health reasons, or like towards the end of a nighttime routine, just get all your thoughts out, something like that?
Yeah, I just sometimes I just sit or lay in silence, and I sort of decompress and download the day. I just think through things. So sometimes I need that time.
Yeah, good stuff. My problem is getting my brain to shut off, and so that's why reading before you go to bed. Because when you fall asleep, your subconscious mind never sleeps. And so whatever information goes into your head right before you go to bed. That was one of my biggest takeaways from psychology class in college, was that that's a good way to transfer something from your short-term memory to your long-term memory, because then you're asleep, but you're still kind of thinking about it.
Yeah, I found when I stopped using my phone before bed a while ago, I get such a much better sleep at night. And I find in the past, when I found I was on my phone, my brain was still buzzing. It's buzzing for another 20 minutes or half an hour. So it was really hard to get to sleep. I'd wake up again and go back to sleep. And when I stopped using my phone right up until bedtime, it was a lot better. Mm-hmm. And I tell my clients that if they have some sort of tech or phone addiction, definitely cut that out before sleep. Mm-hmm. And cut it out as much as possible. If you can finish work and shut down your computer and walk away from it and do something else, and not then pick up a phone and do that, that's a really good step. That's really going to help in so many regards with sleep and energy levels.
Oh yeah. I'm looking, here it is. Okay. So we totally need to have get together and have a book conversation at some point. But this one's The Power of Full Engagement by Jim Lohr and Tony Schwartz. And basically, the whole premise of it is just like going back to what you're saying, is that sometimes less is more. And they've done studies where you take someone that's working 12 hours a day, like I am right now, like just kind of out of necessity. And it's not sustainable. We're just in a busy season. You're a fitness coach too. But how reducing the amount of work that you have, even though you're spending half the amount of time working, they cite studies in this book showing how they're actually 2 or 3 times more productive, which makes no sense. But they are so much better engaged during that peak state of mind when they are getting their work done, that and I think there's a story in here.
I know exactly what you mean. I try to get things done when I'm in the work zone. Yeah. When I feel like I'm just smashing through the work. I'm just so effective. And when I start to, my energy levels dip, I'll stretch, I'll walk away, I'll go for a walk outside, I'll get some sun and come back, and I feel great again. Even if it's half an hour, 45 minutes, I think anyone can slot that into the day. Mm-hmm. And then you come back and you can be a lot more effective again. Instead of trying to get through a little bit of work in 2 hours, you can smash through it in half an hour or 45 minutes.
Mhm.
So you end up saving time.
We have a lot of bodybuilders that listen to our show. So I think a similar bodybuilding analogy would be like intuitively knowing when to stop doing cardio. You know, if you're on a contest prep and you're doing 30 minutes of cardio a day, then you might have days to where like you just can't handle it. And that's your body's way of telling you, okay, knock it off after 15 minutes, just go home and take a nap. You know, but like if you're really feeling it and you just feel good and you feel euphoric and you kind of like almost hit a runner's high or like, yeah, or like if you're like you and me, like on a meat-based diet, you hit that point to where you know you're in ketosis, like you can feel it in your brain and in your body and you feel like you can go forever.
You feel like you're on fire. It feels great. You think,
take advantage of it. It's less cardio that you got to do.
Take advantage of it. You're working out for an hour and a half, and then it kicks in. You're like, I'm on fire. I can keep going.
Yeah.
I feel great today. And if you're not feeling it, like you mentioned, intuition, you just listen to your body. If you feel sluggish or tired, or you might have some sore muscles somewhere. You don't work on that area, or just take a rest. I'm really for having a rest day. If you're not feeling it, I'll have a day off. I don't lift much. I do a lot of bouldering. So I go 3-4 times a week. Sometimes I can climb for 2 hours, no problem. But I do listen to my body. I have breaks in between. Do a lot of calisthenics. I do some freediving in the summer as well. So breath hold diving, which is great.
Oh, okay. So is that like a deep? I'm sorry. Is that like a deep breathing exercise, or is that some sort of a sport?
It can be a competitive sport for people that dive down as deep as possible. Mm-hmm. There's competition. I do it for fun. It's a breath hold activity where on the surface you wear a mask and a snorkel. You do a breathe up.
Okay.
And I try to bring in as much oxygen in my lungs as possible. So you think of them like your tank. Mm-hmm. And then you go down, and I go down 20, 25 meters, go through shipwrecks and go through coral and caves. Oh, wow. I do swim, bring my GoPro and get some really cool footage.
That's super. So I go under because you're pretty close to the coast, huh?
Yeah. There's a lot of great spots for diving. I've got one actually. It's only 5 minutes drive away. I'm really close.
Nice.
So it's really easy to get out. But yeah, with breath hold diving, it just feels so good. Just doing these breath holds under the water and being in that underwater element. It's great.
Yeah, like if you're a like brand new into biohacking, I think that deep breathing is like the best place to start. I got my son doing it too. I mean, like whenever, especially like with anybody in this house that just like myself included, that just like needs to chill out. The first thing you got to do is just stop, take a really, really deep breath.
Really deep breath.
Yeah, and I kind of do the same thing, right? Holding it underwater too, the way that you do, but I just do it at our local gym in the hot tub and in the pool. Sure. And I don't know what it is. It's so relaxing, just holding your breath and just being underwater for as long as you can. I don't know why, it feels good.
It does, and it's really important you do a really big breathe up to get as much oxygen in your lungs as possible. Mm-hmm. But also doing that relaxes your nervous system in the water, because when you go under, you want your heartbeat to beat more slowly.
Yeah. Because
then you're conserving oxygen, and then you can stay under the water longer. So mm-hmm. if I do it properly and I'm kind of in the zone, I can go under for a minute 20 tops. I don't push it. If I feel like I need to come up and I get that, it's an urge to breathe. So my body's going, I think, okay, it's time to come up. I could push it, but I don't want to, black out near the surface.
Wow.
But I have my personal best is 5.
That would not minutes. Be called. That would not suffocating underwater is not how we optimize our health.
No. But moving underwater is a bit different because you're using quite a lot of oxygen with the movement. But on the surface, my personal best is 5 minutes 10, which I don't think I could reach again. That was pretty hard going for a breath hold.
Cool. That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, a little bit about one of my side activities besides the going to the gym and bouldering.
Awesome. I wanted to dive into one of your recent Instagram posts about about brain health, but since we're on this biohacking topic right now,
Mm.
my bodybuilding coach has advocated a lot of the things that you've been describing, the vitamin D, the sunlight, all that stuff. But one of them has been walking barefoot in the ground and just in the soil, and just good old Mother Earth daily to assist with your body's natural circadian rhythms. Yeah. And so personally, I just feel more energized afterward. I sleep better. And so it's been a ritual for mine ever since. You seem to be a fan of this too. I think you made a post or something about it. What does that look like in your lifestyle? And are you aware of any science around this subject?
There are thousands of receptors in your feet, and they're all directly connected to your brain. So you can really, when you're walking barefoot.
So that's like after like an Asian foot massage, why your whole body just feels amazing, even though it's just a foot.
Yes.
Massage. Okay.
Yes. So you got more receptors in your feet than your hands, because we've evolved to walk barefoot. We really have to, our bodies need to pay attention to what we're stepping on. So it's really good to be mindful when you're walking, like just really feel the surface as well. So that's really going to stimulate your brain. It's really good.
More so than hands too, because like sometimes I'll do push-ups in the morning. I like to do it first thing in the morning too. It's just like a cup of coffee. It just kind of wakes me up for the rest of the day too. And so sometimes I'll do like feet and hands in the dirt or the mud because it rains a lot here.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. Just go back and just when you go inside, you just got to clean up and then go about the rest of your day. But so feet
more than your hands
are more effective than hands, huh? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, apparently more receptors in your feet than your hands. That's incredible. I guess because we're evolved to be always on our feet and walking barefoot, moving on our feet.
Mm-hmm.
So we're using them, in fact, more than our hands.
Yeah.
If you think about it. Yeah. So for me in the day, I, of course, at home, barefoot. If I go out, I go for a walk. I'm a bit of an oddity in the neighborhood. I walk around with my shirt off at the park or down wherever. As long as I'm not in a real public space like a supermarket, I'll put shoes on and a shirt. I'm not poor Saladino.
I'm the same way. Yeah, no, like my whole neighborhood knows me as the shirtless guy. That's like, you got to be careful if I got my garage door open, because I might be doing a photo shoot or teaching a posing class, and you don't know what you're going to see.
Yeah, I'm the barefoot shirtless guy at the park. You know.
Yeah.
The homeless guy? No, that's me.
Yeah.
So yeah, down the beach, wherever I can, barefoot, it feels great. So I try to do that as often as possible and take my shirt off, you know.
Yeah. Especially if you look the part, man. Why not? You know.
Why not? Yeah, it feels great. It's that feeling too when you get the sunlight straight on your body. You know, that's so good for your body. You can just feel it. You just feel energized.
Okay, this is. I don't know what you'll think of this, but I'm big into the sunlight too, just like you described. Some of my okay, no, I'm definitely going to edit that out, but
okay.
but sunbathing naked and getting like the boys some sun exposure, man, like that really feels good.
I'm all for that too. It feels good. There's bits of the body that should have sunlight that never seen the light of day.
Yeah, you know, right? I'm leaving it in. That's funny, man. People will relate to that.
Try it. And that's good. Like people are doing this. I've got friends that do that. They've got an area outside their home. It's all private. They can lie down and they do that.
Yeah.
Feels great.
It does.
It's just a natural way of being, right? Natural way of being.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of supersetyourlife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the supersetyourlife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes. Your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
I think we got like 5 minutes left, and I wanted to touch on brain health. This is a really awkward transition from that into this subject.
Yeah, go for it. We're covering everything.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And
Yeah.
if we can't finish this, then maybe we'll maybe we'll just touch base on the next time that we record and just pick up from here. But
Yeah, sure.
okay, so Alzheimer's and blood sugar. You made a post. I'm just gonna read it if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. You said this on Instagram. So everybody, if you want to see this post, Matt, he cites all of his posts and all of his content so beautifully in a way that I wish I could keep up with. You always,
I need to as well. I need to, if you're providing this sort of information like I do in my posts, you've got to have the sources. Otherwise, people are going to be crying for it. Like, where's your evidence? Where's your sources? So it's in there, all in there.
Right. And it's like, I'm the guy that can take your physique from point A to point B using the carnivore diet. Ask me to cite something. Give me 24 hours and I'll find it. It's here. It's on my shelf.
Yeah. There's a lot of studies out there. Just sometimes they're hard to dig out.
Yeah. And then we talk about screen time, and it's like, man, like looking into these studies is going to take a lot of screen time. And I don't have the energy for that at the end of the day after we're done coaching competitors, especially. Okay. So, did you know that dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, is the second leading cause of death among Australians and seventh leading cause worldwide? Recent studies point to blood sugar imbalance and insulin resistance being the two most important risk factors for Alzheimer's disease. High blood glucose and insulin resistance also contribute to metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. In fact, AD risk is increased 50 to 100% by diabetes. The brain is hypersensitive to insulin, and over time, the high blood glucose causes inflammation, blood vessel damage, blocked nerve communication, and eventually contributes to the neuronal death seen in Alzheimer's. Did I pronounce that correctly? Neuronal?
That sounds pretty good, yeah.
Okay. The problem lies with a diet that is high in processed sugar and refined carbohydrates, which keeps on generating high blood pressure glucose, stimulating high insulin levels, and provoking insulin resistance. In a 2012 study, 1,000 people were broken down into 4 groups based on how much of their diet came from carbohydrates. The group the group that ate the most carbs had an 80% higher chance of developing mild cognitive impairment, a pit stop on the way to dementia, and those that ate those with the smallest amount of carbs. Overall, the situation of metabolic dysfunction is what contributes to Alzheimer's disease. As sugar is the main driver of metabolic issues, it is arguably that the most important thing is to cut down or prevent any disease with a metabolic component, including Alzheimer's. A diet low in sugar allows for better insulin sensitivity. That makes sense because we know that's the culprit from earlier before. So that means that insulin can perform its jobs in the correct manner. In sum, to decrease the risk of Alzheimer's disease, eat a diet sufficient in protein and fats, avoid sugar and processed carbohydrates, manage stress levels, and maintain healthy high LDL and low triglyceride levels. That's what we touched on earlier in this conversation. And that one hit me really hard when I read that a couple days ago, because we had, because we had on episode 31 of our show, I'm looking at my notes right now, we had Lorenzo Pruitt, a real good friend of mine, gym owner, lives just down the road. He's on the carnivore diet because he has to be because of his Alzheimer's, and he has a good doctor that recommended that he get on it for that reason. So,
well done, great doctor.
Yeah.
And how is he finding that? Is because I think most metabolic disorders can be reversed through a change in diet, and getting on carnivore can really help with that, because it's going to cut out all the processed junk. You're going to really going to get the most nutrient dense food. You're going to get that protein, great fats. So it's really, I'd tell people, if you've got a metabolic disorder, like, why not? Just give that a go. Give it 6 weeks and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of people, they can reverse these issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, issues like that, and even just how you're feeling all day, every day too. It's like there's so many people that it's just like that. You know what I think it really comes down to is the biggest fear of man is the fear of change, right? And if you're changing all these things in your lifestyle too fast, then it can get to a point where it's not sustainable. But in the case of in the case of someone like him, or in the case of someone that is excuse me, no, like in the case of someone that's, you know, used and accustomed to a high carbohydrate diet, that can be a tall order to just quit 100% cold turkey.
It's so hard. Yeah, I know people that do have health issues.
But I think everybody should try it, and I don't think you'll realize. My response is, you know, and you hear people say like, oh, well, I feel great eating the way that I do. I'm like, okay, well, cut out sugar. Now tell me how you feel a month later.
Yes, because that,
do one thing at a time.
How they feel might feel normal when it's not, and they could feel so much better. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm 35 or I'm 40 or I'm older, and it's just a part of aging. I'm tired and I've got these issues. But no, it's not. I worked with someone, at the time she was 27. She had trouble getting out of a chair. She wasn't overweight or anything, but she said, I'm so tired and my back's sore and I must be getting old. I'm like, you're not old at all. You're 27. But I didn't say anything because I did see how she was eating every day. It was like fries and gravy for lunch and Coke. Like, it's not my job to call people out on that. I just sort of plant the seeds and don't want to really go into detail with colleagues or people that I don't know very well. So it's quite hard. But you can see you can be 27 and thriving, or 40 or 50 or 60 and thriving. Just even start with some small changes, like at least cutting down on the processed carbs, or cutting down on the sugar 50%, or cutting out seed oils. Just make a change, see how you feel. And then the next couple of weeks, cut out something else and see how you feel. You could make incremental changes. It doesn't have to be all in carnivore. You could slowly eliminate things over a few weeks, and it's easier that way.
It just scares people, really. The idea of just being on, you know, an elimination diet to where it's literally nothing but meat and salt. It's great when you're doing it, but that transition process is like, okay, just go paleo, right? That's a step in the right direction. And
go paleo, that's really good. Go keto afterwards, and then the next step is carnivore.
Yeah.
Or animal based. You could still have fruit and honey. Some people find that's fine. Some people don't. So everyone's a little bit different. But yeah, there's all these different steps that people can go through in their own journey to arrive at something that really, really works for them.
Yeah. Dude, okay, so this is a topic that we could go on for another hour on, and I think we should. And I think we should pick up on that. Because we are
could really focus on different ways of eating in the community, and nutrients and all sorts of things. There's so many different things we can cover. I was gonna talk to you about optimizing testosterone today as well, and we can cover that in a different session.
Yeah. You know what? Please, let's do that on the next one for sure. Everybody listening, Matt's coming back because clearly we have a lot more to go over.
I love talking about this stuff. I love sharing this information with people too. It's so good.
Oh, you're the best, man. No, and I learned a ton too. And so half the reason I record these is to share them and to make a podcast out of it. And half of it is just like, man, like this is stuff that I need to hear as a coach, and that our clients need to hear. And so God bless you, brother. Thanks a lot for your time. I just can't thank you enough for that.
Thank you so much for inviting me and being a part of this.
What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for joining us for this entire episode with Mr. Matt. And think of someone that you know that is super health conscious, that would definitely jive with the things that he was talking about. Or better yet, think of someone that you know, like me, that could tend to overtrain and sometimes forget about the hormonal and the long-term health aspects. So that's why I love surrounding myself with people like Matt, because that's how we learn, right? Okay, Gonna send you off with some words of encouragement and a quick customer review. Actually, this one will be a little bit longer, but this is from, okay, so we got lucky. I mean, really lucky. Lucky Crim from Alabama, to be exact. She would like to, she went ahead and sent me a review in her 2 cents worth on the pink cave salt. So she goes, you should try the ground beef cold. The fat sticks to it, liberally salted. It's like icing, smiley face. I love, this is an email conversation that we have going back and forth. And so she goes, I love the pink Celtic cave salt. Its smooth texture and savory taste pairs perfectly with my ground beef. Awesome. On the ground beef, side note, rule of thumb as a carnivore. Okay, so every carnivore that I know definitely has cold ground beef in their fridge somewhere, right? And so our rule is with all of our clients is whenever you finish all of your food, as long as you're not on a contest prep, that can change things. But if you're going for overall health, maximizing your muscle gains, maximizing your fat loss, and you want to stay there as healthy as you can without getting completely bone shredded, right? Intuitive eating is a huge part of that, especially on the carnivore diet. If you're still hungry before going to bed, you're usually pretty safe just eating cold ground beef to satiety. If cold ground beef sounds good to you, great. You're probably hungry and you probably need some more food. So last night, for example, my dinner was doing 2 meals a day. My last meal is always the biggest. It was all chicken thighs and pork belly. I finished all of it, landing around 250 grams of protein, 400 grams of fat, but I was still a little bit hungry, so I just had a couple bites of cold ground beef, super satisfying, went to bed with a smile on my face. So take that for what it's worth, intuitive eaters and all of you on the meat and salt diet. Okay, and then one more thing on Lucky too, 2 more things actually, is that she was on our show a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, and between then and now, she's been putting into action everything that Coach Mark and I went over in regards to her training and her diet, figured out why she was getting injured and why her results kind of stalled. And now over these last 2 weeks, this is really exciting. Okay, so this is what's happened since then. Her weight has gone down from 109.8 to 108 pounds. She's a super light gal. She's pretty short too. 60 years old, carnivore, runner, bodybuilder. If you haven't checked out her Instagram, you definitely need to do that. I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes as well. So that's her weight trend. Her skeletal muscle mass, this is all by an in-body scan, went from 50.5 to 50.7. Yeah, buddy. So a little bit of a muscle gain there. Oh, right. What happened to her body fat pounds? Went down from 17.9 to 16.1. Boom. That's a win. What else? Percent body fat went from 16.2 to 14.8. This is a super lean gal. So we're working on muscle building right now and getting her ready for probably figure or bikini. She hasn't decided yet. So congratulations, Lucky. That is some solid progress. And while we're at it, she is also our customer review too. She left us a good review on YouTube. So she goes, let's see, this is with the Bart K interview. This is our last episode. This is going to be a good one. With my new plan that Colt put together for me isn't based on caloric intake, just meeting my protein and fat macros. And I am really liking not being so focused on the calories. It takes some of the noise out, and in turn, less stressful. I'm really curious how this plan will work out with my next check-in. So awesome. Thank you so much, Lucky, for that. You will be receiving some Celtic sea salt. So if you would like the pink cave salt or the blue salt, you just let me know. Fine ground Celtic sea salt. That is kind of our flagship product. Anyway, I'm going to send that over to you. Got your address on file. Anything else you want in that, you just let me know. Otherwise, just going to send you that. Cool. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining this entire episode. We'll catch you on episode 131. In the meantime, eat lots of meat, lots of salt, drink lots of water, work out super hard, and have fun. God bless you all. Everybody, sorry, one more thing. Totally forgot this on a business note. Get so carried away with the content creation and everything that we're learning that sometimes I can forget this. But if you find it anywhere in your heart to support the show, you can find all of our salts, all of our supplements at supersetyourlife.com. We got merchandise there, all kinds of cool stuff. definitely there's something there to help you on your aesthetic journey, making your gym experience, making your workout experience more fun, more effective. Supersetyourlife.com for all of the above. If you get charged for like astronomical shipping, that is obviously an internal error on our side. So shoot me an email or a DM or something in that case, and I'll just pay for it, and I'll just pay for the shipping for your trouble if that happens. All right, that's been happening a little bit. So yeah, and then one more thing is Matthew 5:13 through 16. It's about salt, so I thought this was kind of timely. Jesus is talking to the disciples right now. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt should lose its taste, how can it be made salty? It's no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled on by men. You are the light of the world, a city situated on a hill that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, but rather on a lampstand and gives it light for all who are in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, so that they may see that your good works give glory to your Father in heaven. Amen. All right. So with that, if you share my faith, great. You know exactly what that means and exactly what I was talking about. If not, I encourage you to go check it out anyway and just take it for what it's worth. Think of it this way. You're an example to everybody that sees you every day. You got one life, make it count.